Hello, this is Alyssa O'Toole with the Kane County 4-H, and today I just kind of wanted to put together a tutorial to help everyone that needs help with their AET record books so that your record books can be to the best that they can. So the first thing I want to do is bring up this AET record book rubric and kind of give you an idea of what it looks like. You can find this on the Kane County 4-H website, or you can also find it in an email from Rachel Spencer. I believe it might be on the fair website as well. So the first thing that we go over here is presentation. Clean pages secured in a cover or binder. So when you finish your record book and it's printed out, make sure that that's nice and neat and no food spilt on it or anything like that. The next thing I want to do is we're going to skip over the signature page, but we'll come back to that and go to the SAE information. So the first thing we need to do is go to the AET.com, so go to your internet and go to theaet.com. And as you log in, you go right here to student. My login's already here, but if you live in Orderville or Valley, it's UT0030. The next thing would be the capital of your first name, the capital of your last name, and spell out the rest of your last name. Their password would be the same thing. So unfortunately I didn't grow up here, so I'm going to plug in my information. So when you log in here, this is what it will look like. So the first thing you need to do is set up your AET experience, or what's called our SAE. For all of you FFA kids, you know what that means. So first thing we need to do is go to our profile, and under develop your AET experiences right here, this is where we want to click. You can see I already have some set up, but I will set up a new one just to show you how to do it. So we come up here to add new, and this is what it looks like. Now we want to leave animal systems correct. This is right. This is your subcategory depends on what kind of animal you have. So maybe I have a beef. Entrepreneurship or ownership means you own it, which is correct for the fair. When you plug this in, you always want to plug in market, your animal, and the year. So I'm going to do 12. But I already have one that's called this, so I'm going to do 2012. Make sure this is called a market cattle under the category, not a breeding cattle. And this is the most important thing, this management module right here. If you don't click this, you won't be able to get to the right place. So make sure this says market/heifer manager. And you own 100% and save that. So the next thing, if we go back to our rubric, this has that set up our SAE so that we can continue working in this program. But if we come back here, our next thing that's on our list is an SAE plan. Now I've put a few things in here of what your plan needs to include, like the interest of your interest in agriculture, your planned beginning and ending dates, classes you have taken in this area, things like that. So maybe if you attended any workshops, you can say this is what I plan to attend, things like that to plan out your SAE. So when we come back to our AET, right here under Market Beef 2012, I'm going to press Plan. And this is where I will write my plan. It's kind of like a 4-H story condensed down. Once that is finished, go ahead and press Save. I'm going to write my plan is, and save that. Now that we've gotten our SAE plan in, or you will have it in, the next thing it asks for is pictures. So I'm going to show you how to do that. If you come back here and go to right here on the right hand side, or the left hand side, it says portfolio. Click on that. These are some pictures I've already put in, but the most important thing you have to remember is up here in the right hand corner it says experience. You have to click the right experience or else the picture will not show up in your completed record book. So if I click Market Beef 2012, choose a file and upload it, it's right there and it will show up in my record book. On the rubric here, it says that you need to have 4 pictures at least, and a maximum of 8. Hopefully we would like those to include a beginning and ending project pictures, maybe some in the middle and some different things you did. Make sure it says right here that the pictures need to have a dated caption which tells a story. So if we come over here and press edit on our, I'll show you one more time how to do that. Press edit right here and go in and write something. So I work for the 4-H. Anything like that. Make sure that includes the date, and you can also rename the file and save that. Okay, so if we go back to our rubric, our next thing is our experience-related journal entries right here. These are very important, and these things include right here what I wrote, including the day you bought the animal, changed feed, weighed, washed, groomed. So yesterday I put on a record book workshop, so I'm going to go ahead and enter that in. So I come up here to journal at the very top up here, and I'm going to push time in my AET experience right here. Now, if I click up here on the calendar, I can take it to yesterday, and I'm going to write record book workshop, and I'm going to change this to Market Beef 2012 because that's what year I'm working on. Now I'd write a description here like I put on this workshop and about 15 people attended. Now I spent about 3 hours on that, just there. But I actually spent some time preparing, so I might put in 5 hours. It wasn't supervised by anyone. These are my parents, or my ag teachers, as you would see here. For me, it wasn't supervised, but if you are a Valley FFA student, Mr. Cox's name will show up, and he was there, and you could put that if you wanted to. Go ahead and press save. Now that is an example of one journal entry. If you ever wanted to go in and view them, you could go back to review your journal entries, and it would show you, if we went up here and went to experience related, it would show you everything that you've put in experience related. See, so it says my Market Beef 2012 here, and here is my record book workshop that I put in. You can always edit those. Now, if we go back to our rubric, our next thing is operating expenses. As a record book keeper, this is a very important part. So let's go in and show you how to do that. Up here in finances, we go up here to finances. This is our life right here. We love this. It has a picture of pig by it and says manage your market animals, enter vaccination, weight, and sales. We're going to use that manager. So you won't have an animal bought, but what you need to do is buy a new animal. Now put the date when you bought the animal, who you bought it from. Right down here it says the dollar amount, the head, and the total weight. Make sure to save and return to that. If you don't do that, you won't be able to enter anything in. So you can see I already have my animal in here. So what I want to do is put in a new cash expense. So right here I can write down the date, who I bought it from, choose the type of thing I bought. So it could be feed, veterinary supplies, any of this kind of thing. How much you bought it for, and a memo or efficiency to tell you what you bought. That will allow you to put in expenses and make your operating expenses. But another thing that I want to go over while we're in here is this thing called new animal entry right here. Now when we click on that, it brings up this. A new management operation. So something like when you weighed your animal, gave it antibiotic, worm, or other vaccinations, had a vet visit, maybe some competition results from fair. Those are all very important things to put in. So we want to put in maybe a weight that we weighed our animal. Maybe on Friday at that workshop that we went to. And it weighed 100 pounds. And we write something else in here, some hours, things like that. Fill out this and go ahead and save it. I'm not going to save because I don't need this in there. And that's not accurate, and records are about being accurate. So we can always come up here to review our feed entries or review our management entries. This is one easy way to do it. If you didn't so happen to want to do it in here, you can always come to the Finances tab and you enter a new income or expense. That's another way to get there. If you were to do that, you could do a cash expense fill out this and go ahead and save it. Make sure when you choose your experience, it is the experience of this year. Currently, we are not making the kids backtrack entries so that they have a balance for their animals. So let's say that they have $100 from last year that they made on their animal. We're not making them do that, but that is also a helpful thing to go back in and do if you so desirest. So let's come back to our rubric. Our next thing is management, and that's actually what I showed you back here when we went in here and went to manage your market animals and went to a new animal entry. All your management entries will show up in here, so make sure that you follow the rubric on those, saying that there's detailed entries of animal weights, medicine administered, and vet visits. Our next thing on our rubric is our profit loss report. This report will actually make itself if you put in your records correctly. Make sure to, after the fair, go back in and put how much you made off your animal, because that will help your records be accurate for the next year. At the end, I put in an extra points, just if the kids or yourself put in a lot of effort into doing your record book, there is some room to get some extra points there, which makes it out of 110. So the next thing I want to show you is come back up to the signature page and to print your final report. So if we go back here and we come up to the reports tab up at the top, we can see that we can print a report, and the report we want to print currently is the single experience report right here. Now I'm going to pick which year I'm going to do it for. Now comes in the signature page. Right here under SAE agreement, this is the signature page that needs to be printed off and signed by the student and the teacher. Now this will come up. This will show you what your plan is and a few other things, and it needs to be signed by the student, the parent, and the ag teacher. It needs to be attached to the record book. That is what we call the signature page. So if we were to close out of that and come to complete our record book, it would be right here under a complete report as a PDF. We open that up. And here is our final record book. So we kind of go through a checklist. We have our SAE in here, which is our SAE information. We have a plan. We have a picture. We have some journal entries. We have a profit and loss report. Now, what our management entries are considered would be going under journal and experience activities, and what the judges will do is look through there and see if you put any entries about weighing your animal or any vet visits or medicine administered. A good way to put in management entries like feeding hours or watering hours is to do them by the week or the month. So let's say that you work, let's go to our calculator, let's say that you water and feed a total of 30 minutes every day, and you do that 7 days a week. You work 210 minutes a week watering and feeding. So if we divide that by 60 to get to our hours, you work 3.5 hours every week to water and feed your animals. So if you wanted to put in your weekly feeding hours and watering hours, you could do that by putting the date and say weekly feeding hours 3.5. Now you might put animals ate well, we upped their feed to 2 cans or 5 pounds or whatever you want to do there. Now if you wanted your monthly hours, of course you would times that by the days of the month, or the weeks. So maybe there's 4.5 weeks in that particular month. It would be 15.75 hours a month. Something like that. Now that we have that, we are about done with our record books. So we can go ahead and close out of this. Maybe it won't close. And that is the end to our record books. Now, of course, if there are any questions, you can always get a hold of me here at the Extension office, or Jeff Cox knows about this program as well. Thank you so much for your time.